What's going on, man? Welcome back.
Ted.
I didn't know we were going to have you on so soon after our last podcast, but I'm glad you were able to make it here tonight as the co-host for Expo number 2.
Yeah, I saw Expo number 1. It looked pretty fun. Definitely wanted to try to get my hands in the pot for Expo number 2, get to meet everybody, and have the honor of being your co-host. But looking forward to a good show today. Looking forward to meeting some really interesting people. Looking forward to learning about some new games.
Same here. We've got 4 games tonight. We have one that I think possibly needs to be moved into another expo. Not sure if it's just a scheduling conflict or what's going on. We're going to have these 4 games for sure. So I'm going to be bringing in all of our game creators. Before we get started with the first game, we've got Silverwing Legacy TCG, Alpha Clash, Tribes of Dieu, and Shattered Legacy. And here is your cast of game creators that will be talking with us tonight. I have to get used to, so this app has all these extra features I never use, so I thought I might throw that out there. All right, I'm going to stick everybody back in except for our first game up, which is going to be Silverwing Legacy. We're going to give each game 20 minutes. They are going to share with us whatever it is they want about the game. Some have presentations, some don't. Some we're just going to do conversation podcasts, and it's just going to be a little bit different. However they want to use the time is kind of up to them. So I'm going to kind of let them guide me if I take them down a path that doesn't sort of match what they want to share about their game. Let's kick off. Let's see, it's 8:09. I'm going to call it 8:10 for you, Malcolm. How did you want to approach your time? Did you want to do Q&A sort of podcast style, or did you have a presentation to sort of kick us off?
No. What I wanted to do is kind of wanted to save the Q&A for the end, because I did have some sort of structure to how I wanted to go about this. Well, first, let me introduce myself. My name is Malcolm Levy. I am the creator and head designer of Silverwing Legacy collectible card game. As most people here, I'm sure, I loved card games growing up as a kid. Me and my brother used to play them all the time. And my dad recently, he's getting older now, so he calls me every now and again and starts to reminisce about things that we've already talked about like 1,000 times, right? And he recently got diagnosed with cancer about 2 years ago.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Blood cancer, yeah. And because of that, he started to reflect more on his life. So anytime he calls me, he really likes to bring up the past now. But what he started to do now is talk about some of his regrets. So there was maybe a couple years ago, he reached out to me and he says, "Hey, how you doing? Normal pleasantries. Do you remember when we used to play those games together as a kid, those video games?" And I said, "Yeah, Dad, I remember. We talked about this 1,000 times before."
Mm-hmm.
Right? But now he says, "Well, I really used to love doing that with you guys. Those are some of my fondest memories because I never got to do that with my dad. And I wanted to make sure that I could do that stuff with you guys." And then he asked me another question that usually always follows. "Do you remember when you guys, whenever you would get money for Christmas or your birthdays, do you remember always asking me to go to the card shop to buy cards? You remember it?" And I said, "Yeah, I remember. We talked about this before, right?" But this is where he added some new information that I never knew. And he says, "One of the things that I always regret was not getting into those games with you guys the same way that I did the video games." And I was like, "What do you mean by that?" And he said, "Well, I used to always watch you guys play those games from afar, and I just didn't get it. I didn't understand the Yugi Mans and the Pokemans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just didn't make sense to me. Even when I used to just look from a while, it just looked too hard. I'm used to card games. I'm used to spades. I'm used to blackjack. I'm used to whatever. So I didn't know what you guys were doing. But I think I was scared away by the fact that I didn't know it. And I wish that I had put more effort towards it. And that was something that really hit me when I wanted to develop this game. So I actually pivoted from that conversation. So ultimately, Silverwing Legacy TCG is a game that's designed to be inviting to amateurs, but also engaging to experts. And what I want to focus on today is really about the ethos of the game and the why.
Okay.
And I think it's one thing to say that's what the game is about. I think it's another thing to show that's what the game is about. So what I want to do now is we're going to play a really quick abbreviated version of the game. And just to be clear, Ted, we're both Teds, right? You guys have never seen this game before, right? Never played it, didn't look into the rules.
No.
Right.
I don't know anything about it.
We're gonna play this game. You don't know anything about it. The viewers don't know anything about it. But after you watch it, I'm hoping that you'll be able to get the general gist.
You're a brave man, because we did not plan this, everybody.
Nope.
Malcolm did not tell me that this is what was going to happen. So I will do justice by your experiment here, and I will try hard to learn, and hopefully we'll we'll walk away knowing how to play.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go off mute. I'm actually going to move over to where my setup is. So
okay.
Sure. So I'm just going to tell you when we start, and then I'll tell you when we finish. But I'm not going to tell you anything else.
Okay.
All right. And then it's going to be up to you and the viewers to sort of figure out what's going on here. I've got a little helper here with me. So just give me a moment here. I'm going to go on mute, and I'll just sort of do a thumbs up to the camera so you can see when we're ready to go.
Yeah, no problem. I'll actually put you back in the waiting room, and then when I see you do something like this, I'll see you in the waiting room. I can bring you back in.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. Teddy, what do you think? This is going to be interesting. I wasn't planning on this happening.
Yes, totally unexpected. I don't even know what to think. You know, I'm not a player. I represent more of the collector side.
You're more collector.
We'll have to see.
I'm getting his thumbs up, so we're going to bring him back in. All right, everybody, you guys are going to watch us learn this thing live. I have no idea what this is going to be like. Let's see. And let's see, Malcolm, we got to get you off mute.
Yeah, I'm going to stay on mute. You won't know anything about the game other than what you see.
Oh, okay. So let me just make sure I'm 100% clear. You're not going to ask us the Teds to play. You're going to ask us to watch you play with an opponent, and then see if we can tell you how to play when you're done.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. I just want to make sure I have the rules of our little experiment here. Yeah. All right. Are you ready, Teddy? We're going to have to, I'm engaged. Let's go.
All right. So we are starting now. All right.
This is interesting, guys. I'm going to add some commentary because I want to tell you what I'm thinking. I kind of feel like I'm not getting a clear turn. It's like it felt a little fast at the beginning, like they were playing at the same time. Not 100% sure on that. Okay, so we have... I want to watch what's happening in the middle here again, because I saw one card go down on like perpendicular to the other. This is what I thought was going to be, because I saw stuff coming in the middle and I thought they were battling, and then one would win and one would lose, but then I noticed some cards aren't in the middle. There's that perpendicular thing again happening. I don't know what this is about.
Yeah, you're going to have to commentate more of this for me, Ted.
The tough thing is I'm also trying to observe and learn as well. Okay, so things are definitely coming to the middle of the board, and it looks like, things are, I'll call it winning and losing, right? Somebody's losing, and the cards are then being pushed off to the side in a, a pile. So he plays, opponent plays. See, again with the perpendicular. Something's going on with the perpendicular for sure. I'm also noticing different card backs, unless these are different sleeve backs. So there might be different types of cards defined by the back. Again with the perpendicular. They're loading stuff up.
Shiny Ho-Oh says attacking and blocking is happening. Connor Nelson asking about two back rows. Looks like they're building armies to KFC.
What's intriguing is, okay, so wait, a card just flipped that had multiple colors, and when it flipped, it went to a black and white back, and it just happened again on the opponent. So cards are being like shown and unshown, in my opinion. Now, he just cleaned up that pile that he was sort of like, I don't know if I would call that the losing cards, but the cards that were being shoved into that pile, he just cleaned it up. I don't know if that means anything, if that just means like that's a graveyard of some kind and he's just cleaning it up.
Seems
See,
like
but
he's
now, but look, he
well.
put it next to the graveyard, not on the graveyard. And guys, I'm making up words. I don't know if that's really a graveyard. I want to see what he does here. See, look, there was no headbutting, right? There was no two cards that came together there. He flipped one over and put it in the pile.
All right, so the game is over.
Okay. So Malcolm, I'm gonna take a guess that you lost. Did you lose?
Oh, that was going to be the first question. Who won? Who do you think won?
I mean, I felt like you lost just because you have less cards in the middle of the board, so it felt like a board wipe kind of a state.
Yeah, that's actually exactly correct. Now let me.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't expect to get that right.
No, that's exactly correct. I don't know if the chat, if anybody else got that, but I did lose, and my son is actually who I'm playing with. He is
okay.
Okay. So now the question, I heard you guys sort of trying to figure it out, which is great, right? What did you notice anything about how? So yes, the cards go into the middle. And someone mentioned that's attacking and blocking. Did you notice anything about any patterns between the cards that were attacking and blocking?
Well, I noticed a couple of things then and a few more things now. So I noticed then we were having a perpendicular, you know, like your opponent might have it perpendicular to your card. I don't know the meaning of that, but that feels like somebody is either attacking or blocking. But now I'm also realizing, and I don't know that this matters, your play mat is flipped where you have like this gold side and this gray side, but your opponent, the gold and gray is, if that makes sense, like a yin and yang thing. And I have no idea if the placement of cards on that has anything to do with anything. But I gotta ask.
No, that's just this how the play mats are.
Okay.
So
well, so what?
Let's see. Let me see if anybody in the comments has any offerings as to what they think was happening here in terms of the attacking. What was the commonality between the attacking?
While the comments are being built, I'm also curious, Teddy, did you have any thoughts that were different than mine?
I'm just trying to figure out what's going on, to be honest with you. The comments, they were definitely making statements, that's for sure.
One person
said it seemed like when they attack or block, those cards were always the same color.
Yes, that's it right there. They got it.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
It. Yes. So when you attack, you have to match. So the attacking card is upright, the defending card is sideways, and so to attack, you have to match the colors. That's exactly correct. That's all we were doing. We were just matching colors.
So a blue attacks a blue. A blue cannot attack a red.
No,
is that correct?
So a player would initiate an attack right into an open field, and then the opponent has to defend with the appropriate color, right? That's all we were doing, and we had a lot of stuff in the back row that was meant to be sort of smoke and mirrors. But literally all we were doing was matching colors. And then the other thing, when you mentioned moving the cards off to the side, this is so that we knew what colors that we attacked with, because you can only attack with one color each. So that's why at the end we sort of cleaned up by putting everything back.
Okay. Question. Let's say you attack with a blue and your opponent does not have a blue to defend with. What happens?
That's why we were flipping over the life, and that's ultimately why we ended up taking damage. So if we didn't have the matching card, then we had to take a damage either by flipping it over or discarding it. If it was
Did you just say life? Are those cards representing life?
Yes. So this was our life. And as you mentioned, right, you knew that we lost. You knew that I lost because I didn't have any left, right? So these were our life cards, and even though you sort of instinctively guessed that, and that's something that I really wanted to be a focal point is at any point when you're watching this game, you know who's winning and who's losing, or the state of the game instantly.
Sure.
Life is at the centerpiece of the game.
Now this, as we're breaking it down, does feel relatively simple, but I am noticing the cards have a lot of text on them.
Yeah.
I imagine that has a lot to do with who's going to win or lose the particular battle that's happening.
Not at all. The only thing that matters is the color matching. Here's the camera.
So what's on the card? Like, what is the text mostly lore, or is there like mechanical things happening there?
Well, let me switch over my camera view for a second. Give me
sure. You want me to? I'll put you back in the waiting
yeah,
room.
just
Then
put me back.
okay. So, dude, what did you think about that?
Pretty interesting. I'm still learning. We've got a great question here in the comments from Patrick Carey. I want to ask for sure.
Okay.
There you go, right there.
So let's see. Just a question or comment here. I'm going to bring Malcolm back. So we have a comment here. Let me swap you with me here. Is there a unique identifier to assist with the colorblind, or are colors unique enough to determine that?
That is actually a great question. So originally we had like a little symbol at the bottom that was meant to, instead of matching the colors, you would match the symbols. We actually got a lot of feedback from colorblind players that said it wasn't really impactful. So we actually switched, because originally our main colors were were blue, green, and red. And blue, red, green color blindness is, I think, the most common type of color blindness. So that was another feedback. That's why we switched to yellow instead of green. So our main colors are primary colors: blue, yellow, and red, which is easier for colorblind people to tell apart. The other thing that we do is we are using specifically a colorblind palette for all of our colors. So they are the colors that we are using are specifically designed to help people who are colorblind tell them apart, and they'll be like different shades. So like red, if you can't see red, it'll look like a really dark yellow versus the actual yellow that we have is going to show up as a bright yellow. So even though they're both sort of yellows to you, you can still tell the difference between the two.
And because you need matching colors to battle, it doesn't matter if our yellow is their red or their red is our purple. It doesn't matter because they got to match. Okay.
Correct.
So just a quick time check, 4 minutes on the 20-minute time slot. What is the best way you want to use those last 4 minutes to demonstrate or share more information about the game?
So really quickly, ultimately, again, I want to focus on the ethos of the game.
Okay.
So yeah, you guys, and people in the comment section too, you probably know someone like this, right? Have you ever met someone like this right there? Someone who plays card games. They really love the card games, really enjoy card games. They have a favorite card game. They go to their locals. They've got friends, whether they're on Discord or at their locals. And they've got, a card game community of people that they're with. But when it comes to involving the people who are closest to them, right? Relatives, brothers, sisters, significant others, to try to get those types of people into their hobby, they found to be very struggle or difficult. Whether it's maybe the people just don't get it, or people get frustrated because it's hard or too complicated. There's too many different decision paths, right? If you know someone like that,
no one in my house wants to play TCGs with me.
Yeah. So this is a game that was designed at its very core. All you're doing is matching colors, and that's something that anyone can do, and it's scalable, right? So we were playing the game as if there were no effects. We actually, in our starter decks, we have a set of cards that just don't have effects. So if you just wanted to play with those base level cards and just match colors, you can do that, and then you can scale them up. Maybe you just introduce the effects, then you introduce some of the other types of cards that we have, right? So you can ease them into it, but at the end of the day, you're just matching colors, and anybody can do that.
Is this also why it's a CCG, not a TCG? Like, are you not doing the whole like rarity and I might not get it?
Yeah, the only reason why I didn't do a TCG is because like I felt like collectible card game was more accurate to how people play cards and interact with cards these days. But we're going to have rarities, we're going to have booster packs, we're going to have boxes, starter decks, all that, all the whole 9 yards.
What are your intentions for the game, for the business at a macro level? Like, do you want to become the next big Pokemon, or are you just looking to be like a family fun, friendly, casual, like a small, medium-sized game? Like, what are your aspirations?
Well, I mean, I think any person who has a product wants it to be as big as possible. So I mean, we definitely hope to become the next big thing. Is that likely? Unlikely, right? So we're definitely trying to be as big as we can ultimately. And we're going to do everything that we can. I'm actually spending all of my own money for this game, so I'm not using any Kickstarter funding.
Are you not going to go to Kickstarter ever? You don't think?
We may go to Kickstarter to ask for help for funding the second set, or to help create like a tournament scene. So I really want to have tournaments and have a robust tournament scene with like points, and that we might ask for help for that. But in terms of the actual game, I'm paying for it with all my own money. I'm putting my money where my mouth is and funding it myself.
So I know we only have a minute left, but I want to get it to a place where if people are interested, Is there an existing set out now that they can go check out and play with?
Yeah, so we've got our Discord, we've got our Instagram, Silverwing Legacy CCG. Right now, we actually have our sample packs. So this is called Kicking It Off. It's our first sample pack set that we released just yesterday, actually. So there's a limited amount of those available. There's 120 of those available. So you can those are available for purchase right now. I have a very lofty launch date of 2024. Again, because I'm using my own money, I have to sort of do things in more methodically. But I'm trying to be aggressive and get it out and officially released by 2024.
Are you don't have to answer this, but are you interested in sharing how much of your own money you've invested so far? It just helps people gauge like how serious you are at this point. You don't have to, but
no, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I mean, just a guesstimate, probably $10,000 at least.
Okay.
I'd have to go through all my list of receipts. I kept all those because if I did go to Kickstarter, I was actually going to say, "Hey, here's how much I spent."
Yeah, I was wanting to gauge: are we talking $100,000? Are we talking $400? Yeah, okay,
that's 10 to 20,000.
Okay,
a big guesstimate, and spending more. So we're not done yet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure you're not done yet. Well, that was so we're at 20 minutes. That was a very sort of interesting way to demonstrate. I had no idea that was coming. That was fun. That was exciting. I was like trying to figure out what's going on and commentating a little bit. So definitely very unique way to share the game with everybody. I know you mentioned you have Discords and stuff, but we went over it, I think, a little fast. What are like the top 1 or 2 or 3 places you want people to go? Do you have a website? Like where can people actually go to learn more?
We don't have a website yet. Our Discord is going to be the main place to go to get most of the information. Connect with us on our Instagram page at Silverwing Legacy CCG. For sure. Well, appreciate the time. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you, Malcolm, for the time and sharing it with everybody. Take it easy. Peace. All right. Let's see. I'm going to bring up my little list here. Teddy, anything we need to catch up on in the chat?
No, you covered it. I definitely wanted to make sure we talked about where people can get product. KFC's asking, trying to do his whale thing. So
okay,
you nailed that one.
Okay,
but that was it.
Okay, cool. So it's 8:32 my time. I went ahead and made Alpha Clash at 8:33 again, so that we don't infringe on Alpha Clash's time. But that's who's coming up next, guys. And here's the list if you guys are interested in what's coming after. I will be going after the live is done and putting chapters in for each game. And I did that for Expo number 1 as well. So if you're interested in specific games, you can go right to the chapter. We have Ridge from Alpha Clash. Welcome to the Expo.
What's going on? Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to learn about. Am I looking at vampires or elves or a combination of both?
Nope, these are superheroes.
Superheroes. Okay.
Alpha Clash is a sci-fi fantasy superhero genre story. This actually started as a story during the pandemic, and told my buddies about it. And we sat down. We started building a deep lore, a world. So we're about 2 years into this. Mm-hmm. Shortly after we started building the world, then came comic book plans, TCG plans, long-term planning, et cetera, et cetera. So if you think about taking, superheroes and Hunger Games, this is what Alpha Clash is. This has deep lore. It's an amazing story. I mean, we plan to tell this story for years, and we'll tell it through graphic novels, through books, and multiple other mediums. And, this story is, it's called Alpha Clash because basically there's an awakening. Our first TCG set is called The Awakening. The first graphic novel and the first book is called The Awakening. And what happens is this process happens. It, quote, awakens humans on Earth, and they become alphas. Now, alphas are, evil. They have this natural inclination called the pull to fight one another. And so they're duking it out on Earth. Well, while the alphas are fighting, there's the alpha hunters who are fighting back and trying to protect Earth. There are roguelike characters that are going to be, fighting back or even having their own motives. And the story is really deep and it's awesome. And so the long-term vision for Alpha Clash, it's to be a very competitive story in multiple forms. So we want to be a competitive comic book series, so we launched our graphic novel on Kickstarter back in June, successfully funded. We got some pretty cool news, recently. We'll announce that when we can, but what I can say is you'll be able to get this comic book. It'll be more accessible to people in the future. And we're going to release it through Trading Card Game through the years, through booster box sets and supporting sets, things like that. We'll be doing, a full book series. Our first book will release next year. It's almost done being written. Everything that you see in the card game is directly from the book. And that is the life source of the comic, and everything else. So everything that you see on these cards are actual characters. This is Clarity right here. And this is Mean Streak right here. And right in the middle, that's Magnate. All those people are, in the story. There's actually a lot of alphas, a lot of characters, and they're original. This is an original superhero story. We spent a lot of time building that so that when people do play the game, they're going to be like, I love this character in the story. I want to play that character in the card game. And in the card game, they're going to play like how they are in the story. Mean Streak, he's a speedster. He's got these streaks that float around him. So you're going to see a new take on, the Flash, but it's an original take. And when you play the TCG, he's fast, he hits, and he's really fun to play.
The term alpha, you know what? I had no idea what you were going to say. And I kind of like the when you're saying alpha in terms of like an apex predator, sort of like it's an alpha human because they now have more powers or whatever. And the Clash is that's the fighting or the battle, I imagine. It gives me a new appreciation for the title of the game. The next thing is the book. So you're saying the book is the core of everything else is kind of spiderwebbed out from that. So the book came first, or it sounds like you're doing them all in parallel right now, but the book.
Yeah, so I actually have a large team, and we all, just tackle this. Now, let me be clear. The TCG is the flagship of all of this. This is the lifeblood of everything. But where we get all our source material, it's from the book.
From the book. So the book is the IP center of the IP. The TCG is the flagship product of the game company. If I'm thinking that right. Okay. In fact, what is the I should ask this, is Alpha Clash the name of the company as well? Because I know when you have lots of different IPs, sometimes people do like a parent company name.
So we are actually Rising Empire Studios. And Alpha Clash is our flagship product. I mean, this is what we want to be a 5, 10 year, 15 year plus, however long we want to tell the story. This is it. But we called it Rising Empire Studios because as we grow as a company, we plan to bring on more teammates that will tell more stories, different comic book stories, different books, different games. That's awesome. That's the plan long term. That was the vision. But Alpha Clash is, the epicenter of all of this. So, long term, we're looking at, TV series, movies, video games. Like that's our 10-year plan. If we do everything right, that's the plan.
Just at a super high level, what is the current state of each of those verticals? Like, does a full set of the card game exist? Is the book published? What, just real quick, like where is each thing at? Just so in my mind, I kind of have a feel of, are you in ideation? Are you, out on shelves kind of a thing?
Basically, we announced at the start of, this year, hey, Alpha Clash is coming. It's a TCG. But before the TCG launches, we are going to be doing a graphic novel so that when you get the TCG in hand, you'll actually understand what's going on with the cards and things like that. So we did the graphic novel release of the first graphic novel on Kickstarter. We hit 60K on that, and that'll be finished. And hopefully, if everything goes right, we will ship that out plus all like our promo cards and everything else October. Now, then the TCG for set 1 launches in November. TCG set 1 has been built for months. We've been just play testing, refining. I'll say it's 99% done. 130 cards in the first set, and actually 132 technically. We're going to be having these case toppers that are art, kind of collector based. So please the collectors, but this is a player's game. Was a long time Magic the Gathering player, played competitively in the Dragon Ball Super scene, and then pandemic hit, Dragon Ball Super shut down where I was in Vegas. And so, just start thinking of a story. Next thing you know, we've got this whole card game. So that's being built. Actually, set 1's done, working on set 2, 3, 4, and we have a rollout plan, for the next 2-3 years. This is how many sets you should expect. By the time we hit, year 5, this is where we want to be with, books 1, 2, 3, et cetera, et cetera. So book will release next year. And honestly, for the TCG crowd, all that stuff's just gravy. It's just other ways to consume this story. If you want to be the player that's like, I don't care about the story, but this game's super fun, we're going to do that. But then there's other people that they want to collect. They want to understand what's going on with the story, kind of like how Pokemon did or Yu-Gi-Oh. So, for us, the goal is to become a top 5 TCG. I have my eye set on Flesh and Blood. I'm coming after them. When I think about what's the goal, it's to be on every shelf when you go to a game store. So obviously that's a big task. That's a lofty task, but we've got an awesome team. The game, I can tell you right now, we've been play testing it at a local game store, competitive Magic players, people that win regionals, judges, etc. As soon as they picked it up, they're like, I'm going to play again. I'm going to play it again and again. And now they're like, man, when this drops, I'm all in. Like, let's go. This is the feedback is this is refreshing. It's fun. It's a faster Magic, which, it does have core mechanics. We use tap, untap, but there's a lot of other different things that we use. Everything, if you're Ted, if you're a player, Magic, everything has summoning sickness. Well, in our game, nothing has summoning sickness. So when you play it, it's fast attacking. And yeah, there's just so many other facets that I could go down of what the gameplay looks like. We'll definitely please collectors because we're going to have, our artwork is in line with Magic the Gathering, Flesh and Blood. Our artists have worked on Flesh and Blood, Magic, Smite, League of Legends, things like that. So, the cards, these are sample series cards that we ran on Patreon here. This is actually sample series 2, and I'll kind of fly through these. Another character, this character's name is Warcry. Awesome character. That first one was Sonoro. We have something called Clash Grounds. Think about changing the location of the fight scene because, with different, characters and abilities, you're going to have different advantages and disadvantages. And so, yeah, we are busting out artwork cards. We actually did the first 3 months of Patreon as artwork. They were called Sample Series 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going into Patreon promos as of last month, and those are actually playable cards. Those cards are finished. They're definitely not changing. I got a few more here. And we have 5 different archetypes affiliations that will run in the first set. Some will get support in the next set or, in the sets to come. We'll introduce new characters, etc. And, behind the scenes, we're working ahead. We're working as far ahead as possible. And, by the time it hits the shelves, this is a fully polished game. It's being tested by highly competitive players. And, the feedback is people love this thing.
I'm curious, how big is the team? You mentioned you have a team, obviously a few different verticals there you got to work on. So you got to have multiple people. How big is it?
So we've got 5 owners of the company.
Okay.
And then we have like 12, 15 play testers as well right now in our internal circle. And then TTS, so Tabletop Simulator, you actually be able to test out the starter decks for the first set here very, very soon. It's going to be the Alphas versus the Alpha Hunters, a character named Moxie versus Magnate. A really balanced, so far in testing, it's 50-50. And so we're excited to, release that with the first TCG set, which drops in November.
I'm curious, what are the different roles of the 5 people?
So the affiliations in the first set that you'll see, and you're going to have most support for alphas. So alphas are, think superheroes, but they're evil. But there's different colors. There will be blue, which is going to be more Mean Streak themed. Magnate, who's green. So Mean Streak's going to hit fast. Think like First Strike, but we use a new play on counters and things like that to kind of buff up your guy and protect other clash cards, which are like creatures on the field, like in Magic. And then you've got Magnate, a heavy hitter, green style deck. Black is the Alpha Hunters, so they utilize weapons and traps. So you can lay down traps, you can equip with weapons, and you can kind of hit your enemies for more damage or catch them by surprise with counters or traps and things like that. We have the white archetype, or the white, which is clarity here. And, she kind of uses an ability called Foresight. So you can start to look at the top cards of your deck, rearrange them, and, she's probably the most popular contender so far. So when you start the game, you have a contender on the field. Your contender is your lifeblood. As soon as that character goes down, you go down. And so it kind of operates. This game is just like it's Hearthstone, Magic, Dragon Ball, Yu-Gi-Oh. Throw it in a blender, mix it all up, throw in awesome artwork and fun gameplay, and then this is Alpha Clash.
The artwork is sick. When you were holding up those cards, the character design, it's just the characters. They look so detailed. That artwork is so nice. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You were at Miami TCG Con earlier this year, correct?
Yep.
I think I remember meeting you guys.
Yep.
I'm not sure if there was any product for me to actually purchase at the time, though.
So at that time, we were actually doing like a spin wheel where you could win Patreon promos that we had on hand of extra ones. And then we showcased the game for the first time. And so that's where people could play test and
Got
see.
it.
Now what's special or what's different about what we're doing, not only are we telling the story first, but we're actually getting all the artwork done before the Kickstarter. So 130 illustrations that are done by these high level artists. We're saying, hey, we're investing in, the best now, so that when this Kickstarter ends, everything's buttoned up. Booster boxes are created and done. Starter decks are, the designs are done. Every single possible thing. So when backer kit ends, we're going right to production. You're going to see turnaround times, as long as shipping that isn't just like crazy, long. But we've got our manufacturer lined up. Everything's buttoned up. Just today I built like I think it was like a 60 item task list. Hey guys, before the end of the year is over, these are all the big items that we have to tackle. It's and it's all in order of dates, deadlines, everything's got to be done at this time. So what you can expect is a super awesome game. It's collectible, but it's for players. So, we'll find ways to keep people, come in. We've got a rarity called Iconic Rares, and those are going to be alternate arts of the epics. Epic is, think of like a super rare in Dragon Ball or a legendary in Magic, or maybe even, what is it, a mystic? I think it might be mystic or mythic in Magic, so we're going to have really cool collectible pieces, but players, they're going to want, this stuff because it's a super fun game, and it's built, by players. And honestly, I was a collector too, Pokemon, Dragon Ball, things like that. And now, we had a cool story. We had deep lore. We've got a writer on the team, artist, graphic designer, someone that's behind the scenes with production, business ops and things like that. And so, by the time you guys get it, it's going to be fully polished, and this is a legacy game. You're going to see this, around for a while, because we're working on sets 2, 3, 4, etc. We'll be working on the artwork for set 2. Like as soon as this next Kickstarter gets wrapped up and we get everything ordered, you're going to see us working. We're going to try to release something, within the same year, if it's even possible, with manufacturing.
Wow. It seems like you guys already have so much planned out with such a detailed roadmap. I do feel like with so many new TCGs coming into the game, being able to show, your fans basically that you have this massive roadmap is such a big differentiator and attention grabber. Do you have upcoming conventions that you're going to be attending? We've got Long Beach, right ahead of us. Where can we come find you?
So we will be at Long Beach Collecticon actually this weekend. So you can plan to get this promo at the Collecticon Long Beach event. And so this is actually playable. Anyone that gets this can flex on anyone, because it's playable. This is a contender that people love in the playtesting. And so, definitely don't miss out on this. 515 of them are getting printed, and we're going to hand those out. We will also be at Kansas City Collecticon, and simultaneously we'll have 3 teammates there. We'll have 2 teammates in Las Vegas for the Las Vegas Comic Convention that same weekend.
Okay.
And then we will be in Denver, and in Denver, that's where we're going to ramp things up in October. We're going to do, like a full, 5-table setup. We'll have multiple tables for play testing. We'll We'll have a lot of products to show off. We should have comic books in hand. We should have, the whole lineup of TCG stuff that we have up to date. We'll have almost all the illustrations done for the upcoming TCG. And then November, the game's going to launch on Kickstarter. You can go to the Backer Kit store right now if anyone missed out on that first Kickstarter. The graphic novel and add-ons, collector's cards, things like that are in the Backer Kit store. So if you go to our link tree on Instagram, Alpha Clash TCG, on Instagram, you can find the link tree, and then the Backer Kit store is the first thing on there. So if you want product, that's some place that you should look. Then we've got Patreon that runs monthly. We'll probably run that until the end of the year. Every card that releases from here on out on Patreon is playable. So everything that you get, you can actually use in the trading card game. And just look ahead for the next Kickstarter. You can follow us on Alpha Clash TCG on Instagram, Discord, Facebook, whatever you're into, we're on there. So Instagram seems to be our lifeblood along with Discord. So if you find one of those, the link tree will help plug you into, the ecosystem of Alpha Clash.
If this game sounds interesting to you, make sure to go out there, check it out, do your research, and start digging in and kind of see if it's something that you're going to like and enjoy. And that's what these expos are all about. So, Ridge, I want to thank you for your time, for sharing your game and letting us know what it's about.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Thanks, Ridge. Take it easy.
You too.
Peace. For those that don't know, people who are just now tuning back in, I lost internet at my house. It was down and out for quite a while. Eventually, Teddy was not able to control and keep up with my Melon app because he's not an admin. So it just died. And there was nothing I can do to get back on because my internet service provider was not serving internet to the house. So just catching some of you up who are on the live stream, just tuning in. Alpha Clash just wrapped up, but for now, we're going to be bringing in Tribes of Deu, and this is going to be Pasadena. Am I remembering correctly?
Yep.
Awesome.
What's up, y'all?
Dude,
What's up,
welcome to the expo, man. I hope I can keep the internet running for your whole stream.
It happens like that sometimes, man. Like the universe will do what it do. Fight through
Sometimes
it.
we just got to pick ourselves up and maybe laugh a little bit, and we just got to move forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You already know the vibes, Ted.
I'm with you. Let's do it. Let's kick it off with what is your mission? What are the objectives for your business, for you and your game?
Well, I'm Pasadena. My real name's Terrence Brown. People call me Terry. From Louisiana, moved out in Seattle 2016. And I started an indie company called Nukari Games and Entertainment, LLC. We're registered with the International Game Developers Association. We're also registered with the Game Manufacturers Association. Right now, currently being mentored by some people from the International Game Developers Association. Um, yeah, man, and we specialize in character development, game development, also voice acting and music production, and we're planning to do some events with the game.
What are your aspirations for Tribes of Deu? Like, where would you want to see it in 3 to 5 years?
So the whole plan for Tribes that I have right now is to just take it step by step. You know what I mean? I want it to be a lasting thing, whether it goes crazy or whether it just hits that steady pace. But I really
Okay.
want to move in a blue ocean style, to where I'm not really trying to. I'm living in the market space, but we're not trying to chase a whole bunch of really anything. We're just looking at, to see how we can cross brand and make different experiences for people through the music, the themes of the game, the themes of the story, colorations, the different people and guest artists that we implement with the game. And I'm also going to be introducing things called seasons where we just have campaigns. This is my website for Tribes of Deu trading card game. Essentially, Tribes of Deu is a collectible trading card game based on an original story that me and the Nukari team made. Basically, in the beginning of quarantine, I just started working on a life experience inspired story that I felt like would bring people together and teach different themes of just life and just taking care of each other, right?
What's an example of like a life theme that you've baked into the game?
Really, the main thing is ascension and remembrance. So in Tribes of Day, it's picture Yu-Gi-Oh mixed with Magic the Gathering. We use sacrificial summons. And you start with well, I'm gonna just go to the how to play here. Let's start there, man. So I just got a big how to play on the website. It's really huge for everybody to see. Also have a PDF down at the bottom where you can just download, and it has even extra details. It's like a larger how to play, and this is
Mhm.
just kind of a condensed version. So essentially, TOD TCG is a game you can play casually, competitively in different ways with different archetypes and unique synergies to make combos from your front or back row. So the whole point is to defend your tribal and reduce your opponent's tribal life points to zero. In the game, you can make up whatever life points you want to have with your friends or whatever it may be, but normally it's set at 3 life points. Um, we have 8 different card types that are split into 3 different groups. Sorts cards, which include our chosen and tribal, creature cards that are our members, spirits, and bestials, and spell cards that are strategy and field armaments. So the source cards are your tribal and your chosen cards. And I'm gonna get down at the bottom to where I show basically the field here. I'll just
Okay.
go here. Let's just do
So
this.
are you moving cards then on the board? Because it looks like there's spaces to do that,
Yep,
or are these
yep.
just
So
static?
essentially, how this works is you start with one tribal. Each player pre-chooses a tribal, so your source cards dictate the style of play that you want to implement with whatever your deck is, or however you put it together. Right? You start with the tribal face up, and you also start with one chosen face up. Um, ooh, excuse me, I had the burps. So with tribes a day, you can move cards front or back row. Your front row cards are used to attack. Your back row cards are used for strategy cards, such as well, spell cards such as strategy cards and armament cards. With oh, ha ha, yeah, one. It's your deck, your graveyard, battlefield, front row, back row, tribal. Every game starts with 50 cards in the deck. Right now, tonight we're about to drop the first 4 theme decks where it's
Tonight?
tonight we're gonna
You
drop
you you mean they've not been dropped before this?
they've not been dropped before this.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, tonight we're gonna drop 4 of the first official pre-alpha playtest theme decks, and
How are
it's
you
consists
doing
of
that?
50 cards.
Like where can people go to like if they wanna be involved in that?
They'll be able to download it from the site, and after this, I'll just show you guys all the stuff from the site, all the places where you
Oh,
can
okay.
go to
So
download
so
too.
there'll be, like a
It's a print and play.
print your own deck. Okay.
I have it to where the decks are all pre-layered and stacked to where you just print out probably 7 sheets, and that's basically the cards, all the cards you will need to have that theme deck.
Okay.
hmm
And
hmm
real quick, I don't wanna lose this because Jimbo's got a good question here.
hmm
Where does the name Dayu come from?
So I'm from Louisiana, and I'm part Cajun. So I grew up on a lot of French culture, and Dayu is French for God or deity. And Dayu is also the planet that the story is initially about, where the tribes live. And Dayu is also, like I said, deity. There's 12 tribes on the planet Dayu, and they each represent a god or a constellation or a zodiac. I reimagined the zodiacs and created themes based on those similarities to make characters in a world basically. um
Looks like, you made a fan because, he just said he loves the flavor.
oh, thanks, man. I'm kicking it. This is just the beginning. um so with let's do some card breakdown
Yeah, I like it.
right here. This is just and this is
I'm
just
even gonna
our
zoom this
first.
Here, let's make this a touch bigger. There we go.
Okay. Now these are just our first alpha card arts. After our first Kickstarter, we're gonna update a lot of these and switch up a lot of things, different shadings, more realistic tribal and element pictures and rarity symbols and all that. But yeah, no one is the card name, card level, tribal alliance, attunement, attunement, which would be a gift and or element. So the levels, how you play Tribes a Day, you go from level 0, 1, 2, and 3. You start with your level zeros, and then you sacrifice your level zeros to your level ones, and so on and so forth.
Oh, so I mean, is it fair to say it's similar to like evolution
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
things are evolving, or
Yep.
okay?
It's essentially that evolution.
Does this also mean that like only certain cards can be evolved from certain cards?
Mm-hmm.
Am I going down the right path there?
Some of them, but not all of them. You can
Okay.
mix and match different cards in tribes. Long as it's within the rules, you can mix and match it however you want to. But you have to play within the levels rules, starting from 0 and leveling up to however level. Like example, right here, our chosen cards. You have 3 chosens here. And chosens affect different field effects. Like I have some cards here, like just being random.
Mhm.
Um, Whereas here's a chosen. A chosen effect would be example call. Reveal up to 2 spells from your hand that cannot be played until the start of your next turn. And search your deck for 1 member and 1 spirit creature. Reveal both and add them to your hand. So things like that. And call is also a keyword in the game to where in Yu-Gi-Oh it would equate to special summoning. So when you have a call effect, whenever the card is first laid down, you can do whatever effect has the call tag on it.
I kinda wanna see this in action. Is this on Tabletop
I'm
Simulator yet?
I'm getting the tabletop simulator mod
Okay.
worked on.
Okay.
We're about to start it. I really wanted to show that to you guys just to really
Yeah.
show the show what
Sure.
I
I
have.
mean, it's
But I
it's
feel
the
like
natural
this,
place.
if I could get everybody buffered up with just
Mhm.
information and have everybody play test the game and take the survey, you know, you guys can tell me what you think about the game.
That's cool. You got a survey you wanna, send people to? Do you wanna wait till the end for that?
Yep, I'll wait to the
Or
end. I have that
okay.
also on the website.
Awesome.
So these are the different card types. We have strategy cards, which are spell cards. You can think about them in Yu-Gi-Oh. You play them one time and then they're off the field. They're gonna come in different colors. Gonna come in different hues of red and different templates. We have armaments, which are enchanted armors, and you also play them on characters. You play them under cards, and you can also keep adding onto them.
How high can you go? What's the highest level you can evolve to?
Level 3.
3. And am I using the
Mhm.
right word, or do you have, your own term for this
It's
game?
ascending.
Ascending
Yep.
is the
Anytime a card is dropped, you're
okay.
ascending it. Every card has a command point, and creatures use their command points to summon, block, cast, or move around the board.
D do you feel like it's possible, and this is my wacky throw, I like to throw ideas out,
Throw it out.
that in future sets, you might expand it and let people upgrade or, ascend to, like, level 4, maybe a
Of
5
course, of
someday.
course, of course. Maybe
So that's
someday.
possible.
Yeah,
Okay.
right now we're starting it to where it's of course it's simple. The first set, um the theme decks that we have are essentially the first set of the whole game. All
Mhm.
4 of the tribes. If you separated them, put it all together, it's the whole first set. We already have the second set done. We're using this time to play test first set, and now getting ready to play test with everybody else. I'm getting ready to do some play tests with the playtest Northwest organization here in Seattle. They're local, and they specialize in helping game developers and board
I
game developers in specific and tabletop game developers just learn the craft and get their footing in the industry.
If you're playtesting, does that mean that you've sent cards to printer, or you're just printing your print to play stuff?
So what we're gonna do with the out here locally, I have some cards that I have that are some playtest cards that are the
Mhm.
first pre-alpha playtest cards, and I'm also gonna be giving some of those cards away just because. Just with the actual, I have two actual art cards. The
Okay.
the the cards for playtest right now have all reference art and reference template. They're just mainly used to play the game and show everybody what it is. But the gift cards that I not gift cards, but the cards that I'm gonna be doing giveaways with will, you know, be that thing.
Mhm.
So here's our turn structure. We try to keep it really easy. It's a gathering phase, a
'Kay.
preparation phase, a command phase, and the combat phase. So going up, gathering phase, start a turn, draw top of the card, start a turn, effects resolve. Same level chosen can replace any other existing chosen at play and at will. So you can say if you start with level 0 chosen, you can have and you pull out a chosen that's also a level 0
Mhm.
or something like that. You can play that on your level 0 and give your board different effects. Um so with the command phases, the command attacks or command points are essentially what the game is about. Managing your resources and managing the board and playing up your combos and playing up your effects. Um, when you drop a member, you have a command point, and for every member, you can cast a spell. For every member that you have. Um, yeah. It's a lot of information here. So you got
Yeah, no,
www.tribesofdayu.com.
I was gonna say that's
That's
a
where
good one. Guys, if this is starting to sound interesting,
yeah,
as you know, this is, just to give you some flavor, give you a taste. It's not to teach you everything,
yeah.
in this
Just to
short
teach
period of
you,
time. Yeah,
yeah,
go out, check it out. You can read through it more. But it does give us a flavor. I mean, it gives us, it kind of starting to peel the onion back a little bit.
That's what
I'm
we're doing.
curious,
That's what we're doing.
what is your the product model plan? So, like for example, is this a type of game where you expect the traditional sort of like booster packs inside of a booster box, and then those are limited, and there's limitations to the print run for each set, and like
So
you
the
know what
whole
I'm talking about,
model,
that traditional
yeah,
model.
of
Yeah.
course. So we're going for a traditional model, but I'm going to be really just close knit with all the numbers. I want to do it, I don't want to just blow the lid off it off right off the rip. I want to have it be a little scarce starting off.
Okay.
So with this first Kickstarter, it's all essentially to fund paying my artist. I have my artist from I'll pull up some of this art here. Let me pull up some of this art.
Time for T's asking about any lore that's sort of backing up some of the characters
Hmm.
and things we've talked about. You may have hit on some of what I would consider lore and story.
Yeah, just
So
a
to
little bit.
some,
I
yeah,
was on a little part. Maybe I'll do that and then I'll go into some of the character art a little bit. So
and just as a time check, we've got about like 2 minutes, which we can play with it a little bit, minute up and
okay.
down, but there's
All right.
not a ton. So lore in a nutshell.
Yeah, so the lore in a nutshell, bam. um Follow the Shallow. Tribes of Day was going to be a three-part story. The prelude is out on the website right now. The card game is based on the contemporary story, which will be the second story in arc. And Tribes of Dayu is the story of 12 tribes that all follow the divination of different entities. The
Oh, that's the
Miro,
12
the
there.
Miro,
Okay.
the Yamu, the Nagru, the Ukonin, the Middlekin, the Red Scar, the Akadi, the Rasu, the New Dove, the Walachu, the Verhart, and the Moonshire. And I just put this so people can just be like, "Oh, this is mine," and they can get into the lore of whatever the tribe is about.
Of
So
which one? So each tribe has its own lore.
has its own lore. So example
And
right
you could
here.
technically you could expand later too by adding more tribes. Am I on the right
Mhm.
path? Or
Yep.
you could
We're
okay.
adding more tribes with the deities. They're just gonna be under, under the deities. Um,
When do you think you would possibly go to like official printing where you have not the print to play, but you've got, enough cards in hand to play with decks, packs, or something people can put together?
for the whole official first release, I'm looking at 2023.
Okay.
May of 2023, we've been invited to the Rivals Trading Game and Collection Game Expo and Spookala. So the for our season 0 is gonna help us, get funds together and get a lot more things ready for that. Um, the season 0 is also to help pay for more art. I'm using Kickstarter to fund the art. Um, I've already put a
What
lot of my money into just getting the seeds of what I need up, of what I want to show everybody so far of what I
mhm.
can do with just a little bit of so far of what I have. Um, and as far as the business and all the stuff, I kind of want to talk about the team for this last little minute too, and
Yeah, I was
show
gonna
you
say
some of
hit
this
that,
art.
and then I was curious. Two quick things. One, when were you going to Kickstarter? And two, have you considered not letting the art hold you back and just using placeholders on cards at least to get your first like samples and play testers and stuff out, so that way, if your cards are done, then the art isn't the thing holding you. You know what I'm talking about? So I don't know, it
Mhm.
would be a gray background or just a logo or something, but
Oh
is that
yeah.
something you considered?
So with the pre-alpha cards, all the cards are essentially either they're just the card with the blank, it's all pre-alpha art, or it's just reference art on the cards right now. But the two arts that we have, these are the full art versions. On
Okay.
Kickstarter, these are gonna be the two art cards that you're gonna be able to pledge to get. I'm gonna have full holographic art versions and normal art versions
Are the
of
Kickstarter pledges only, giving you these 2 full arts, or can they actually get, like can you get, like, a booster box or decks or something?
It's just these two arts in they're gonna be holographic, just regular art and a full art. The higher
Okay.
tier, since it's basically going to it's you're getting the product, and I'm showing you guys that you're gonna get something out of this, and you can believe me and trust me. And just to be like, all right, yo, this is you getting to watch the whole process of it all, because with every character, I creative direct all the characters. I give the references in PDF to one artist, and he does my black and white references for the characters, and I give it to another artist, and then they do the full art. The artist that I have right now is Jamie Senior Gatto from Peru, and I have
Mhm.
another artist named Baby 999 from Central Asia that's gonna do some art for me. With the Kickstarter, if we get fully funded, then I'm gonna be able to garner in my guest artist who's done art for Capcom and Bandai Namco, and he's gonna be doing promo arts that I'm gonna use in some giveaways and some new promo arts for the first boxes. But the season 0 is gonna be the first thing. Then season 1 will be when I release all the extras with the box sets and the booster packs and more merchandising and all this.
Awesome. So I don't know if I caught it. When is the Kickstarter? When do you plan that to launch
Late
it?
October, late
Late
October,
October. Okay.
late October. So it's like it's me, my team. I have a game manager that I'm working to pay with all of this stuff. That's really the point. I want to pay my team and make us take it to the next level. Dave Morrissey Jr. He's going to be my game manager. He has a background in film and design. He's worked with CBS Network. He's worked doing interactive video games and managing those games. My game designer Xenoclash, he's been making games for over 15 years, and he's an amazing storyteller. He's really good at taking the lore and things that are creative and turning it into the game part by part. And he's without him, I couldn't even made the game. So he's in Eindhoven, Netherlands. So it's me here in Seattle and my partner in the Netherlands designing the game over there also. Um,
Awesome. W we've gotta wrap it because we've gone a few minutes over. I just wanna try to be fair. We give around the same amount
okay.
of time to everyone. So let's leave it with, one last thing. Where do you wanna send people who are interested and wanna learn more?
Okay, you guys hit www.tribesofdayu.com. Tribes of Dayu TCG on Instagram and Twitter on Twitch. You can follow me on Twitter, Joe Effing Cool on Twitter. I'm verified on Twitter. You can find me super easy. Yeah, message me. I will message you back, and we can chop it up.
Awesome.
You know,
And feel free, and this goes along for all the other game creators as well. Post your links in comments
shout out to
below in the
Seattle.
video,
What up,
not just in the
KFC?
live chat, but in like the actual video comments. Post your links down in there, and as I see those links, I'll try to bring them up and I'll get them in the actual video description.
All day.
Awesome. So everybody who wants those links, come back and check after the video is done and look for all the different game creator links as well. Appreciate you taking the time to share everything with us about your game.
Of course, y'all stay safe, man.
Take it easy. Peace. All right, everybody. I think we have Chuck and Gil. Gil or Gilbert? You go both?
Yes. Either one, whatever you prefer.
Okay. Welcome, both of you, to the TEDS TCG Expo 2.5. It's been a heck of a night.
Yeah.
Yes, it sure has.
Yeah, it has.
So, what is your mission? What are your aspirations for your game and your company? And you can think about it as next year, 5-year, 10-year, however you want to answer is totally up to you. But I want to give folks an idea of how big you want to build this thing.
Yeah. So first off, again, thank you for having all of us here on your TCG Expo number 2. Even with all the problems, it's great. I'm Gilbert, so I've also been in the community as Go Cards and stuff. I'm the co-creator of Shattered Legacy. I'm also more of like the gameplay specialist, and then we have Chuck, our other co-creator.
Yes, and I'm the lore and basically the lore and story guy. Some of the more creative stuff, but we both do create like different aspects of the game, but he's much more mechanically inclined than I am. Our goal is to combine collectability, gameplay, and impactful storytelling to create a franchise with a constructive and positive community for years to come. As far as market share and stuff like that, we are planning on starting out, small. Obviously, we could hope
realistically.
Get huge. Yeah, we're gonna have all sorts of, we're an indie TCG. We don't have a huge backing or anything, so
sure,
we're looking to build from there.
So I have not seen any of your game. And I try to do that on purpose a little bit for these initial sort of Expo episodes, because I want to see it through fresh eyes and ask noob questions, like not planted questions. I want to be like legitimately, I don't know. There's a couple of good places I usually like to go. I'll let you choose. One is, if we go back in time, where and when did this game enter your minds? Like, how did this seed get started for you? The other place you could go is you could just jump right in and tell us what makes your game unique and fun compared to others.
Okay.
And of course, you can answer both.
Yeah. So with that first question is great. So for a long time, like I've loved trading cards and like since I was little, and I've always like thought about like wanting to create one since like I was in elementary school, drawing on paper and index cards like during lunch and stuff. And over the past years, a couple years or so, we've had this new TCG renaissance is what people are calling it. And for a long time I was discouraged to try to start a new TCG because of how many there are. But then I was like, all these TCGs are being created, and I don't want to live like knowing I didn't try. So I told my friends about how I wanted to do this, and Chuck was actually right there like first to be like, hey, that's awesome, dude, I want to help you out. And he's a writer, so he's written a couple of stories and stuff, and he's super creative. Like he's very humble, but he's a great writer. I'm stoked to have him working on some of the lore with me.
Yeah, I haven't put anything out yet. I'm like editor shopping on some manuscripts. I'm, in the editing process for others. So, or the, I guess, shopping process for like how I want to publish it for others. So, um, pretty much I found this as a good opportunity for me to like put a story behind stuff and connect it to my writing over time. So, a lot of the story has like either thematic or like direct links to things that I'll be publishing in the future.
Okay.
And that's actually something we'll get into as we're talking, is like the storytelling aspect and like what we're working on right now as far as like an IP goes.
Mm-hmm.
Right away compared to what like you would expect people to do with the game.
So the game is first, but you're saying there could be IP that comes later, but it'll all be tied together with the
Definitely.
the story will all tie. Is that what you're saying?
So
Oh, yeah.
right now, we are working on the game,
Yep.
but at the same time, I'm writing like an actual book that I'm going to be putting up chapter releases and hoping to build hype leading up to our Kickstarter, which is going to be like a year from now or something like
Okay.
that.
Would you plan the book to be done before Kickstarter, or that doesn't really matter? It's just a matter of progressing as you get there.
So the pacing that I'm at right now, I'm hoping to have everything done like leading into the Kickstarter. So
Okay.
the story will kind of, give us a overall coverage of the universe, or the not universe, the multiverse of like different cards and stuff that you'll be seeing in the game. And then, so you'll have that background information by the time it's time to actually play the game and get the product.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I see that. I mean, of course, there's no right or wrong way to do it, but I see that as aiding in, like, it's the imagination that the player has when they pick up the card and they see a character. It's kind of cool if you know the back, like the context, right? Like,
Right.
why is this character
Yeah.
even cool?
That's one awesome thing, is because like me and Chuck, we create these characters together, right? And he'll ask me about, hey man, what's the deal with like these cards, like what's their story? And I'll like tell him, and then he'll show me the chapter that he's written, and I'll be reading it, and I'll be like, whoa, this is so cool. Like he's like bringing the characters that we created to life, and it's a really awesome thing.
So KFC's asking if there's going to be packs and booster boxes and like all those sort of traditional products that we expect, to see from a TCG.
Yeah. So, in the future, yes, we're gonna have the booster packs, booster box, everything. Short term, I actually have the test decks. The artwork is almost done for them. I'm expecting the artwork to be done in a couple weeks, and then I'm gonna have them printed, and they should be ready, 2 months maybe. Originally, I was planning to have the test decks ready by December, but some some members in the community were asking us to try to get it out a little bit sooner. So I was like, okay. So I pushed my pedal onto the gas and just started getting to work on it. So we're gonna have our first 2 test decks ready like really soon. Like I even have like little index card versions that I was messing around with to make sure that the ratios and everything were going to be good. So
Are you at a point where you have like, do you have cards like card art or anything that you want to show or like share on screen or anything like that? Or
So yeah, we have plenty of art that we can show, and also I have the physical promo cards that we currently have.
Yeah, here, let me zoom in for you.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but yeah.
Yeah,
I
chose the darkest character. My bad. I should be showing you something. Even there we go. That makes it even better. So we have
so these are
art promos, art and lore promos. So that will be at Long Beach Collecticon for people to pick up. And we also have art and lore promos that aren't Collecticon that we are going to have available for everybody. And I will even be running regionally. I'm trying to go to stores and make contact with different LGSs in my area to see if they want some cards to give out for free and stuff, in the hopes that we could eventually build a relationship and host events and maybe get them to sell some of our product.
Like a distributor LGS type model. You want to be in LGSs? Is that what? Is that your ideal future state?
So I think a big part of it is going to be direct to consumer, but also we do have contact with some LGSs and stuff that might be willing to sell our product.
If you're saying mostly direct to consumer, but you have some relationships with LGSs, you're kind of like, those LGSs are gravy on top, but primarily it's direct to consumer through like your site or direct from you. That's what, is that accurate? That's, I'm
So
just
yeah,
want to
as of right
understand.
now,
Okay.
it definitely is direct to consumer. If we find a distributor in the future that works with us and like we could trust, we're definitely willing to work with a distributor. But we're in such the early phases for that kind of thing to where it's just all planning.
Yeah, that's one thing I was gonna say is like this community is full of so many like game store owners and just people that have like online stores that have you know reached out with support and be like, hey, like when you guys get your game up and running, we'd love to help you out. Ultimately, our goal is going to be to get our game into the hands of the people out there that want to play or collect it.
Aaron's asking if there's a website they can go to order.
Literally, I think in a few weeks we're going to have a website that we're going to.
Yeah, our website's coming really soon. Right now we are on Instagram, and we have a Discord called the Shattered Community. You can get all these links in our bio on Instagram, Shattered Legacy TCG.
We should go into more detail about we want to do promos. Clearly, we have promos, and so we're looking at doing art and lore promos primarily. In October, we're going to do our first holiday promo for Halloween. And as of right now, we're in the developmental phase on where we're going to go with like the boosters and stuff. But we have talked, and we're probably going to do first editions and unlimited runs. So the gameplay people will have plenty of stuff to get if they want to grab the product and get the game. But also the collectors will have something in case they want that first edition.
What's the so you're going to have promos leading up to your first like full set release?
Definitely.
Are those promos primarily basically just to build funding to print the primary set release, or like what's your primary purpose for the promos?
So basically, like when I was starting this project, I had the main goal was that I wanted to, like, before we even do a Kickstarter, right? I want to make sure that I have like all the artwork and everything already ready for the the first set, have like a good chunk of the artwork for the second set ready, like the third set already like thought up and conceived. And we're making good pace with the first set, and our first set is going to be like over 200 cards, our base set.
That's a good size.
We want to have like a good chunk for the players to start with. And but yeah, we're going to have at least 2 test decks before then, but I'm thinking of a total of 5. They're each going to be based off of one of the 10 domains that we have. And domains in our game is basically like an archetype. So our game has 10 domains, and each domain has their own like area, their own people, mechanically their own kind of play style. And when you're making a deck, it's not going to be restricted to using one domain. You can mix and match. You have complete freedom over how you do stuff.
You could think of it almost like a faction or a culture, existing in its own society. So you could have one domain that is like one kingdom, and then you could have one domain that's a different kingdom and they're in the same world, but you could also have one domain that's like a whole different society that exists in a whole other universe. And domains are really exploring what we're going to be tackling as far as what that is.
You guys aren't on TTS, are you?
I have Tabletop Simulator, and like I used it to make a really rough version for the game. I didn't make it public. Along with these test decks, though, I am gonna have the test decks available on Tabletop Simulator as well. I'm not sure if it's going to release at the same time that. I mean, hopefully it'll be ready at the same time that I get the cards printed and everything. It's just hopefully it's sooner. But
how big is your team? Is it just you two, and then any artists that you commission, or do you have a larger team than what we're seeing here?
So we have a team of 6 people. It's mostly the artists and us for now. And we're looking to expand if we meet the right people that share our vision and stuff. But
our main artist, Jo, he's Jodes on Instagram. He helps us out with a lot of, he's done like a big chunk of the art for our artwork. We also, have Felipe and Francisco and Lane. They're all helping us out. I'm super grateful for all these artists, helping us out. And but like Jo especially, he was like one of our first artists, and he's been helping us out a lot with, basically we give him the ingredients and he gives us, yeah.
Some examples that we have.
They seem to be full arts, right? I don't see a lot of like mechanics and stuff on there.
These are our full art promo art cards. So these are not mechanically playable yet.
I think it's important to talk a little, just to share, to get people, if people are interested, to find out, if this is like a flavor of game they like, to get them a little bit of idea on like how the game is played, or at least mechanically what makes it unique.
Yeah. So I'm going to preface this by saying that our complete like zero draft of our rule book, no pictures or anything, is on our Discord, in the Shattered Community Discord. Again, the link is in our Instagram. But basically, you have like the main game is going to be played with 2 players. Each player has their deck of 50 to 60 cards. And in their deck, you can have a mix of any of the types of cards. So we have Domain Masters, Vassals, Supporters, Actions, Spells, and Blessings. Gameplay, you have your field. Your Domain Master is your main defense for your life points. Think of your vassals as they're your attackers. You're going to attack the other player's vassals and try to take down their Domain Masters using combined attack with your vassals, because they're going to have like higher HP. But so basically you're going to have your Domain Master. So he's going to have an HP and an effect. And then you have your vassals. You have 3 vassal zones in the center there on the top. Underneath that, you have your supporters. The supporters are like, they boost your vassals, so you play those underneath the card. And then you're going to have, you have your blessing zone. You have the void is basically like your graveyard or your cemetery. And then you have your rest zones where you can rest your active vassals if you want to, and you have your deck zone. Each player is going to have 100 life points. And the way you get down your opponent's life points, there's a few ways. You have effects that can, bring their life points down. But also a unique mechanic that we have is if your Domain Master gets destroyed, then no matter how many life points you have, it gets cut in half. So if you have 100 life points, your Domain Master dies, then you have 50. If you have 60 life points, then you have 30. So I didn't want to have a game where it's like, if your Domain Master dies, then you lose. And I also wanted to have a game where, you can make a deck however you want. If you want to have like just like vassals, you don't even want to play a Domain Master. You don't really have to, but it would be beneficial to, to have their effects and stuff. But, I want to have as many different ways to play the game, as you want.
I don't know if I'm looking at a 1-player map right now, like Battlefield, or a 2-player, because I see rest zones on the bottom and those vassal zones on top, which made me think that this is not a 2-player, because if it were 2-player, I would think it'd be mirrored.
1-player. Yeah.
That's 1-player. Okay. Just as a time check, we've probably got a couple of minutes left. Talk to us a little bit about like when you start putting cards down on the board. You've got rest zone, you got vassal zone. What do these zones mean? Why are they important? Why would I put a card in one over the other?
Each player is going to have is going to start the game with all the cards shuffled in their deck. And so you're going to draw 7 cards. And out of those cards, if you have a Domain Master, you can play him into the Domain Master zone without, for free pretty much. You don't have to pay anything to play Domain Masters. And we have vassals that are like your main attackers. So those guys can be played into any of the 3 vassal zones. And those will each have a life point cost where you have to pay life points to play your vassals.
Okay.
And then we have supporters, which fall into 3 categories: thralls, conduits, and beasts. And those guys basically boost the vassals with either giving them effects or giving them a stat boost to their attack and defense. And those guys each vassal can have 2 supporters, up to 2 supporters contracted to them. We call it contracting them, but basically they're equipped to the vassals. And say you have 3 vassals, but you have a 4th one you want to play in your hand. So you either have to wait for one of your 3 active vassals to be destroyed, or you can rest it. So by resting it, you move it to the rest zone at the cost of sending any of his supporters to the void. And, when cards get destroyed or when actions or spells get used up, they go to the void. A blessing is like an active effect that's, continuous,
So when they're in the rest zone, what are they doing there? Like, what's the benefit? Do they gain life back or something, or repair themselves?
You cannot, when they're in the rest zone, it's to move them out of the active zone. You can't attack with them. Also, like, there's going to be some cards with effects that get activated when they're rested, or there's going to be cards that can rest your opponent's cards, or bring cards in and out of being rested.
Is it similar to a Magic style where, like, I pick one of my vassals to attack and then they have to defend?
So each one of your vassals can attack once per turn. During your turn, there's an attack phase, which is after you play spells or after you play vassals. Like right before the end of your turn, pretty much, is when you can attack. If your opponent has no vassals, you can do a combined attack to where any of your active vassals that have not attacked that turn can attack the domain master all at once. So you add up the attack of all attacking vassals, and that's how you get over the beefy domain masters.
And the win condition then is, obviously, we're trying to reduce life points down to 0. Is that following that? Okay. Any last final thoughts then before we end?
We do plan on eventually getting some kind of online client,
like video game, but to actually play the card game.
Yes. Yeah. Something, even if it's just something simple, we want to get that out so people can play it.
Is it just because Tabletop Simulator is a little clunky? Like, I know a lot of people they're just not into the interface because it's not like, it's so generic, it's made for almost any game.
Yeah, just something a little more streamlined, easier to use, more intuitive.
That can be a big undertaking.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that would be something that would be just far down the road, or do you think about like trying to get that started soon? Or
everything depends on basically if we could find a way to do it. If we happen to find a good someone to code it for us or something like that.
Gotcha. That's one of those things that there's so many verticals that you can go down. You want to make sure you go down them in a way that you don't go down them too soon to drain the other verticals that are doing good. You get the whole story. I see you're nodding. You know what I'm talking about. What's your plan to make sure you do that safely so that you don't go too far too quick down other verticals and then drain your core games vertical?
Everything spans from the core game first. So, I mean, things that can go on their own, like the storytelling, like the book aspect, like I'm kind of doing that on my own. The main focus is going to be our core gameplay, our core game, and everything else outside of that basically relies on the structure of the game.
And I was talking more monetarily, like if you're writing the book, you're not sucking the lifeblood out of your core games vertical because, like, for example, if the video game ends up taking, I don't know, 50% of all revenue or something, or more than that. See what I mean? Like it sucks the lifeblood out of that's kind of where I was going. But if you can find a way to do it cheap, or you bring, I mean, who knows, right? You could bring a developer in as a part owner, and then all of a sudden they build the game for no cost because it's sweat equity. So those are the kind of things that I'm just thinking of.
And one thing I'd like to add on to this whole video game thing while we're talking about it is we have thought about this. We have plans and stuff. And, I want to, like, I told Chad, like, I think that it'd be cool if we released, like, a simple, like, side scroller game, where you're exploring all the different domains in our game. And, like, something like that, like, I have a little bit of experience with, like, coding, like, for, like, simple games and stuff. Like, I could, if I had, the only problem is the time, the time that you need to dedicate to that. But, like, something like that is something I definitely want to try to create, like, probably next year, just before our Kickstarter, just to have, like, look at this Shattered Legacy mobile app for free, like I think that would be really cool. I think Chuck was saying his dream is to have, like, a Souls-like RPG in the future, maybe.
Yeah, that's obviously, like, top tier dream stuff right there.
Sure.
More realistic goals in the beginning, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to sort of end us there, guys, because I think we went a little bit farther over than I intended. I want to thank both of you, Gilbert and Chuck, for taking the time to share a little bit about Shattered Legacy. What are the places that people can go to if they're interested in looking into more about your game?
So you can pretty much follow us on all the socials at Shattered Legacy TCG, except Twitter because it has to be a shorter name. So it's Shattered TCG. I'm not sure. There might be an underscore there. Yeah, we also have our Discord, which is the Shattered community. We'll try to link into the comments of here if Chuck wants to do that for me, or it's all in the bio of our Instagram. That's where you can find me whenever if anybody has any questions or anything. Facebook if you want to get in touch with Chuck, not me. One more time, a huge thank you for having us and those other 3 TCGs on. This was our first, interview as a trading card game with me and Chuck.
First of all, yeah, you're welcome. And I'm honored that you allowed me to be the first platform to really have a public interview. So I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching. Have a good one. Peace.